start and do just the opening little dungeon on Darkest Dungeon. I started the game earlier, but I deleted the save because I messed up pretty quickly. This is one of those games where everything automatically saves, so if you make a mistake, there's no redoing it. And I kind of went gold spending happy and bought a bunch of stupid stuff right off the bat that I didn't need to do, and I didn't understand a few of the mechanics. And so now that I know that, and I'll talk about those when we get to it, but we'll start over here. So here we go. I went ahead and named me a file, opening thing, and I'm skipping the intro because you can watch that on your own time, and it's in the trailer, which most of you probably have already seen. So let's see. Alright, so when you start off the game, I'm assuming this is the same every single time, but you get a Crusader and you have a Highwayman. The Crusader's okay, he seems pretty cool, but I like the Highwayman a lot, except when he doesn't hit stuff. It's kind of annoying, but you can either click or you can do your A or D key to move. So that's all, like, they explain all that to you. That's pretty simple, and you'll see all that in the tutorial here, which I'm gonna go through kind of fast. But like, this is the room I'm in, and this is the hallway connecting the rooms, and this is the room that I want to go to. So
brigands have run up these lanes. Keep to the side path. The hamlet is just ahead.
So if you see the arrow here, that means like that's your direction of travel. And what I didn't know was your characters don't turn around. So when you walk forward, they literally walk backwards. It's kind of like a one-way street. So if you walk backwards, your characters like aren't prepared for that, and they'll gain stress. And when you reach which is right here, which you can't see because of my camera's in the way, but when you reach 100 stress, a negative ability gets attributed to your character, and when you reach 200 stress, your character instantly dies of a heart attack. So anyway, fun fact for the
Dispatch this thug in brutal fashion, that all may hear of your arrival.
We'll see if I can use this. How about that? Yeah. Okay. So up here's your torch, and it burns constantly. So if I sat here and went AFK, my torch would keep burning down. That's really, really bad.
Well struck.
50%, you start gaining stress. Stress.
Continue the onslaught. Destroy them all.
You can have up to 4 party members, and depending on their range, depends on who they can attack. So you want your tougher people.
Leave nothing unchecked. There is much to be found in forgotten places.
So now, if I go back to my map. Here. So click on the door.
An ambush. Send these vermin a message. The rightful owner has returned, and their kind is no longer welcome.
And then this guy's obviously melee. But he has a whip, so I believe he can do the second row as well. So I'm going to try to because he can get off my Crusader. And I'm not worried about defense right now. So, okay. When I try to click on this guy, I can't. The Crusader, its ability, it specifically says melee, which means you only have one space. You can cast like Smite, which is ranged, Stunning Blow, which is a one thing, which I haven't used, but it gives you protection. But most of these battles are really not going to last long enough to worry about. Alright, so they do an AoE attack, which makes both of my characters. So he shot me point blank and then knocked my main character to the back. So now he can't attack. with his normal attack. And I missed. You know, that's great. The first time I went through this, none of this happened. So this is a completely different experience than the first time. Oh, it's a that's nice. Almost got this guy killed. And something else I didn't know. Up here on this flag, I guess it's up here. You can leave the map. Supposedly.
The bigger the beast, the greater the glory.
Interesting mechanic. When you kill someone, if you kill them on the front line, and say you have a character that wants to be farther back, like they can't really swap places because there's a corpse in the So you gotta keep that in mind for your own side as well. I'm gonna go ahead and kill this dude.
And now the true test. Hold fast or expire.
Means I could die.
Press this advantage. Give them no quarter.
Okay. So a couple things I did stupid. After my Crusader got kicked backwards to the second slot, I should have immediately switched them back to the front. Because, okay, this guy's pistol shot is ranged, and so is grape shot, but I thought I could still use that. Like, it's ranged, so I thought that guy, since he was in the second slot over here, that it wouldn't be a big deal. But they were all grayed out, so I was like, oh, I must have used all my, like, mana or whatever. Kind of like, you know how a lot of games like Pokemon and things like that, after you use an ability, sometimes there's like a recharge timer or something like that. And so I was like, okay, I guess that, I just can't use that ability. But what it was is that since I was not on the second or third or fourth slot, I was not considered ranged, and so therefore I could not use my ranged abilities. So that's where that came from. Alright, so when you complete a quest, you have the ability to leave the dungeon immediately. So you don't have to explore the entire dungeon if you don't want to. But what I found out a couple times just in my brief playing my first run through, or I haven't beat the game or anything, but like I started the game and then screwed up, so I started over. You can just hit continue adventuring, and usually there's going to be something of merit that you're probably going to want. So like, I want this dude to eat some food, because him being dead is not good. He doesn't really need to, because I'm going back to the city and he'll get healed, but notice how little that healed him. So it's very, very important to have a healer in your party, or you're going to end up pretty much screwed. Okay, so I want this guy to open this. It's trapped. And I know that. But I thought maybe there was some loot in it. But obviously there is no loot in it. Notice that my torch has begun to go down. Okay. You can do dungeon runs without a torch, but it makes the game harder. As your light begins to dim, your stress level increases, and you can't scout as well, and you're more likely to get surprised by monsters. So it's very important to keep your torch level high. So when you go in your first dungeons, instead of buying a bunch of stupid stuff, I'd probably buy you a couple bandages and buy some torches. Alright, so we're just going to click up here and we're going to go ahead and peace out, because I know there's nothing else in here, because I've already done this part before. So I got a few crests and a couple deeds, which these are really important for upgrading buildings. And that looks like a lot of money, but ooh, 5,000 gold already? Yeah, you can waste it really, really quick. Trust me, I did that already. Okay. So, resolve, you only get resolve XP if you actually complete a dungeon. So at any point, you're allowed to leave a dungeon. You can cancel a quest. You can be like, okay, this is too hard, I'm out. Like, I don't want to die. So you get an extra bonus if you stick with it, which is pretty cool.
Welcome home, such as it
so
is.
We're back in the town. And
This squalid hamlet, these corrupted lands, they are yours now, and you are bound
A
to
lot of
them.
your characters will end up dying. It's kind of like Fire Emblem. The only difference is, in Fire Emblem, you can, well, in some Fire Emblem games, you can reload the battle and start the battle completely over, and you have a chance of like keeping everyone alive. Some Fire Emblem games, like if they're dead, they're dead. There's no such thing as like saves or anything like that. This game's kind of similar to like the old school Fire Emblems, in which if you screw up, they're gonna die. And since the game also uses random number generator, similar like, you know, if anybody's ever played D&D or anything like that, I mean, you know how that stuff works. There's a chance that a character can get completely annihilated just because the RNG god said so. Alright, so this just gives you like your basic sets of quests you can do. You can't do them right now, obviously, because I'm level 1 and I suck. But, yeah. H is your tutorial. And one thing that's very, very handy, down here at the bottom, this is your glossary. So, it's a list of, if you're not familiar with a lot of these terms, like maybe this is your first RPG, and you just saw the art style and you're like, ooh, this looks cool. Or you don't understand some of the old-timey lingo, you can go through here and you can see what those things mean. A little helpful. Okay, so the graveyard, obviously.
Most will end up here,
who's dead.
covered in the poisoned earth, awaiting merciful oblivion.
And I love that they tell you,
In time,
yeah,
you will
die.
know the tragic extent of my failings.
You unlock this city as time goes on. Okay. And if you ever want to watch any cinematics again, you just click on the statue of your, I don't know, your uncle or whoever he is, who knows. So the stagecoach is where you
Women
get new
and
characters
men,
from. These are
soldiers
the
and
list of
outlaws,
classes.
fools and corpses.
I'm not
All
sure
will find their
what they
way
all
to us
are.
now
I
that the
think
road
this
is
the
clear.
leper. This is the jester. This is the healer. I'll get one of her at the start of the first mission. This is the highwayman. This is a Hellion. That's the man-at-arms. This is the plague doctor. This is like the obscurist or something like that, occultist or something. This is the crusader. I guess that's a witch. And I don't know what these two guys are. An abomination, maybe. Might be this guy. But anyway, like I said, I'm not very far into the game, and I don't want to look a whole lot of stuff up because I don't want to ruin the experience. Because with a game like this, it's really subjective. Like, someone might be like, "Oh, these are the best party to have," or whatever. But I mean, honestly, it's kind of personal playstyle. Some people say AoE's stupid and you shouldn't take AoE comps. Other people say full AoE comps are phenomenal. Some people say tanking sucks, don't take a tank, just go full damage. Others say, hey, tanks are pretty good. Like, it's just personal playstyle, just like any RPG ever, okay? Or if you play Dungeons and Dragons or anything like that. But, so here, I've got 2 new recruits. Like I was telling you about, there's the Plague Doctor.
What
and
better
this is
laboratory than the
Vestal.
blood-soaked
So she's the
battlefield?
healer. He's pretty cool, or she's pretty cool. Now, this is what I was talking about. You need deeds and family crests. So, this is really important to upgrade. So, the higher you upgrade, it increases the
Word is traveling.
amount of heroes you're allowed
Ambition
to, like,
is
recruit at a
stirring in
time.
distant
It just tells you
cities.
the amount of
We can use
the
this.
amount of heroes you can actually have, like, in your town at one time. Because you may have, like, 20 heroes on your city, but you may have some of them, like, at the temple or somewhere, like, getting stress reduction, or they may be at, like, the bar or the whorehouse or whatever. So I'm just gonna upgrade both of these once, I probably should have upgraded the other first, but because it's not like I'm gonna have 12 people in like 5 minutes. So anyway, that's upgraded now. So notice like now I'm pretty much out of deeds, but I've got a lot of court crests. Okay, so you will get deed starved. I don't have any of this unlocked yet, but I can tell you that for sure this unlocks, and the tavern unlocks like pretty much as soon as you get back. Or maybe it was the guild. But you'll unlock a bunch of trinkets. They have special attributes you can assign. You can equip to one of your party members. And like I said, there's the recap. There's the glossary. There's your normal options. Okay. If you right-click the portrait, it brings up, these are their main abilities, which you can unlock more later on, and you can therefore customize your character. And then camping skills, I was like, what the heck's a camping skill? So I did have to look that up because I wasn't really sure what that was. The camping skill is used on medium to long missions, where you'll come to a campground at some point in the dungeon, and you can like, basically it's for like before boss fights. You'll camp and you'll give everybody like buffs and heal up and get ready to go. These are your positive attributes. Every character has several of each. So here, as long as my torch is above 75%, this character always does 10% more damage. If he gets high stress levels, which I would say 100 or above is like high, because that's when you start getting the negative attributes and getting close to like maybe having a heart attack. Like this guy has to go to the church and pray. So that means you have to do one mission without him. Kleptomaniac, he steals, and what that means is like in some of the dungeons there's these things called curios, which are like treasure shrines, which you'll find one in the first dungeon. It kind of makes him, he can't help himself, he just steals from it, which can lead to good things, bad things, no big deal. The Highwayman, stun resistance. He has a really high initiative, so he gets a +2 to initiative, which means he attacks higher in a higher order, and he can't gamble. So when you unlock the tavern, you're not allowed to use the gambling table as a stress reliever for that character. So that's kind of interesting. Alright, this guy, 20% reduced stress. Super important. So he's a sadomasochist, so he will beat himself, essentially. That's what flagellate means. And he takes like the little whip and he's like, oh, I've been bad, spank me, you know. And he's compulsive. I don't really know exactly what that means yet. This is a little bit different perks than the first time I played. And she's obsessed with the paranormal. She doesn't have very good stun resistance, but she gets +3 crit to range skills, and she gets minus stress damage. So, okay, you have steady, which reduces stress damage, and then you have shocker, which reduces stun resistance. So I would rather have steady. I mean, stress is a big deal. And she does a judgment spell, which does damage, and then she has a single target heal and an AoE heal. Actually, she has different abilities, I think, than the last one. Okay, yeah. So, like, this is the very beginning of the game. Well, the last set of characters I had, you get the same 4 characters. They had different names, but they had different abilities too. The last playthrough I had, she did not have Dazzling Light. She had Divine Comfort, which allowed me to AoE heal my party. So what you might recommend, now granted these characters will probably end up dying eventually, but to help make your first playthrough easier, you might just want to make a few profiles, play through the first, like that little intro tutorial I just took you through, and just kind of let the RNG gods see what they come up with. So that's always an option. But yeah, I'll show you one other thing. I'm not gonna start the other mission right now because it's getting late and the video is getting long. But when you go to embark,
a mecca of madness and morbidity,
like this says, I
your
can go
work
here.
begins.
Obviously, this is a medium length dungeon. and it's supposed to be level 6. Obviously, I'm not ready for that. So here, I have an apprentice short mission, level 1, and a bonus goal to explore 90% of the rooms. And this is guaranteed rewards for beating the mission, and then you get bonus stuff later. Now here's one thing you can mess up on. No, you can switch this at any time, but it takes a turn. The first slot here is the order like they combat in. Not that they combat in, but the order that they're standing the entire time when they're patrolling through the dungeon. So you normally want your tankier character, which in this case is my Crusader there. Then I'm going to take my Highwayman, who's a melee / ranged, and put him there. And then the Plague Doctor is like a quasi-caster with those like damage over time spells, like Plague Bomb and stuff like that. And then my healer, I want her in the very, very back, so that the melee people that I fight against can't punch her in the face. Now, if there's an archer or something, she can still get wrecked. But the odds are a lot less that she's going to die than if she was up here and she'd get killed in like the first turn. And then you'll go to provisions.
The cost of preparedness,
And it tells you
measured
kind of like
now
a little
in
bit to
gold,
get.
later in blood.
I can tell you, if you take what they tell you, you're probably going to end up really, really sad. So I'm actually going to buy an entire stack of torches. I'll buy 2 stacks. Why not? And I also want to buy 3 bandages because I did end up with bleed effects last time. And I'll take 2 shovels. I don't know if you need any more. And I'm gonna take 1 skeleton key just because. And then I would say take 10 food. Let's make it a dirty dozen. Okay. The rest of this stuff, not that important. Or at least I didn't have any issues with it. I'll take 1 of those just in case. So, I'm not buying a bunch of dumb stuff really. Just, you know, easy things. Like, that's really expensive right now. I don't really need that because I don't have a healer in my party. And since this mission's really, really short, my goal right now is to keep my light level above 75%. So that my characters don't get stressed out, because like the first time I ran this mission, 3 of my party members had 100 stress and 1 of them was at 88. So I basically, if I had went on another mission, I probably would have got all my people killed from stress, and I didn't have any money, so I couldn't buy anything else. Because I kept sending, I would like put someone in the church to get stress relief, and then I would be like, oh, never mind, maybe I'll run this mission anyway, and I would like take them back out. Well, you don't get a refund, so I spent like, I don't know, like 4,000 gold just screwing around. So I wouldn't recommend that. But that's where we'll start the next video at, around there. I'm gonna go ahead and go back, because like I said, I don't really want to do this right now. And yeah, we'll call it right there. Enjoy.